She was found burned in a remote, icy Norwegian valley, a place locals already feared and whispered about, calling it the Valley of Death. It was November 1970 when a man hiking with his daughters stumbled into the frozen silence of Isdal Valley and saw something that made him freeze: a woman's body, lying grotesquely between jagged rocks, charred beyond recognition, almost erased from existence. At first glance, it seemed like a tragic accident, maybe nature's cruel hand, but the longer investigators stared, the less it made sense. There were no signs of struggle, no clue why she was there, no identification, no papers, no name, nothing to tell the story of who she had been. Her shoes, her clothes, even the smallest details, all seemed deliberately stripped of origin. It was as if she didn't belong in this world, or any other. When the police arrived the next morning, stepping into the same cold, haunting silence, a chilling realization gripped them. This wasn't merely a death, a misfortune. It was a carefully orchestrated mystery, designed to confuse, to erase, to vanish a person so completely that the very concept of her identity became impossible to grasp, leaving only fear, questions, and the cold wind whispering around jagged rocks that had silently witnessed a story no one could yet tell. As investigators began examining the remnants of her clothing, something stood out immediately, something unnatural. Every single label, every tag, every marker of origin had been meticulously removed. Not torn or burned away in careless panic, but cleanly, surgically, as though someone had gone to great lengths to erase any trace of where she came from or what she wore. There were no careless mistakes, no signs of haste, only precision, a deliberate act that spoke louder than any words could. Whoever had done this or had allowed it to be done understood the importance of complete erasure, the kind of control required to strip someone of every small clue. It was unnerving. It suggested either a person fully trained to disappear or someone under the control of forces far beyond normal comprehension. Even her shoes, her personal items, the tiniest details that would identify any ordinary traveler, gone. The cold air of the valley seemed to grow heavier as investigators considered it. This was not an accident, nor a random act of desperation. This was the work of a mind, or minds, that demanded total invisibility. And standing there, surrounded by jagged rocks, ash, and silence, they couldn't help but ask themselves, what kind of life could force someone to disappear so completely, leaving only an unrecognizable husk behind? The autopsy brought darkness into sharper focus and revealed an even more disturbing truth. Inside her body, doctors found a quantity of sleeping pills large enough to render a person weak, helpless, possibly even paralyzed. But the burns told a different story, one that twisted the mind. Subtle marks suggested she may not have been fully unconscious when the fire consumed her, hinting at a terrifying possibility. She could have been aware partially, as the flames licked her skin. Imagine that for a moment, the horror of being trapped, aware while fire devoured you. The pills pointed towards suicide. The burns hinted at something sinister, deliberate, something intended to look like self-destruction but conceal far darker truths. Nothing fit. Every detail is pulled in a different direction. Investigators were no longer looking at a simple death. They were trying to untangle a scene crafted to confuse, to mislead, to manipulate perception itself. Each second in the cold valley deepened the feeling that they were following breadcrumbs laid out by someone who understood fear, control, and the art of vanishing. And in that twisted calculus, one chilling realization emerged. This was not just a death. This was a message, a riddle, and the truth was hidden behind layers of smoke, fire, and silence. A breakthrough came in the form of two ordinary-looking suitcases found at a nearby train station, linked to the woman. When police opened them, the case shifted from strange to extraordinary. Inside, they discovered wigs, sunglasses, outfits of every style and color, tools designed to alter identity in seconds. This was not casual packing. It was a system, a methodical preparation for invisibility, a way of living in multiple guises simultaneously. Each item hinted at careful planning, at a life spent evading recognition, manipulating perception, and controlling every interaction. And the pattern was consistent. Labels removed, origins obscured, nothing traceable. Whoever she was, she had mastered the art of becoming anyone, blending seamlessly into any environment. The calm precision of it, the absence of randomness, suggested training, experience, or deep understanding of espionage tactics. Police realized then, with a chill creeping into their bones, that this was no ordinary woman. This was someone who had rehearsed disappearance, who had built an identity system as intricate and efficient as a spy's toolkit. And yet, even that only deepened the mystery of why she would ultimately be found burned alone, in a frozen valley that seemed to reject her very existence. Amid the wigs, clothes, and accessories, one object seemed insignificant. A small notebook, easily overlooked, but a closer look revealed an order hidden in chaos. Random letters, numbers, codes, meaningless at first glance, became a system when analyzed. It was a record, a map, a timeline. Every entry marked a location, a date, a movement across Europe. This was not travel for leisure. City to city, country to country, always with purpose, always with control, never lingering, never leaving traces. Each page suggested a meticulous mind, planning weeks, months, even years ahead. And as investigators traced her movements through hotel logs and sightings, a frightening picture emerged. This was a life dictated by secrecy, a life devoted to remaining unseen, untouchable, untraceable. The notebook was not merely a diary. It was a ledger of invisibility, a testament to someone operating in a shadow world, constantly on the move, always one step ahead, or perhaps one step from danger that none of the investigators could yet comprehend. The question shifted from who she was to what she was doing, and why disappearance itself had become her most vital skill. Police began tracking her through hotel records, and what they found was astonishing and unsettling. Every stay revealed a new identity, a new story, a new face projected to the world. Sometimes she booked alone, sometimes with companions who never revealed themselves, but always she remained quiet, distant, meticulous, observing more than interacting, speaking in multiple languages. Yet her accent defied classification, leaving those she encountered uneasy, unsure where she came from. Staff described her as always alert, a presence that seemed almost mechanical, not human in the usual sense, as if she were constantly calculating, anticipating, adapting. Every action reinforced the idea that this wasn't just travel. This was trained behavior, a life built for invisibility, for control, for vanishing into crowds without leaving a trace. Even her movements within the hotels were precise. A careful walk, minimal interaction, attention to exits and entrances, her gaze sweeping the room while never giving away more than she needed. Slowly, investigators began to see a terrifying pattern. She had mastered the art of blending in while remaining untouchable, a ghost moving through Europe, and yet, all this skill, all this careful preparation, culminated in that cold valley, burned and abandoned, raising the question, what unseen force finally caught up with her? Witness reports added layers of mystery, and a chilling possibility began to form. Some claimed to have seen her meeting with unknown men. Always brief encounters, almost ritualistic in nature. No laughter, no conversation, no warmth. Only quick exchanges, silent understanding, and then separation, as though the meetings were rehearsed, controlled, and purpose-driven. Nothing about these encounters felt natural. They seemed calculated, precise, transactional. And that raised an impossible question. Was she part of a larger operation, a spy network, or working alone, yet with skills no ordinary person could possess? The way she moved, the secrecy, the discipline, all suggested training beyond normal civilian life. Investigators were forced to consider worlds hidden beneath their understanding. Intelligence agencies, Cold War operatives, clandestine deals, and suddenly, the mundane explanations of travel, anonymity, or personal fear seemed childish compared to the machinery of espionage she may have been entangled with. Each new detail, each fragment of observation, twisted the story further into something that no one could fully grasp, until the terrifying possibility emerged that her death was not the result of chance, but the culmination of forces operating far beyond the reach of ordinary life. Europe in 1970 was a continent of secrets, a chessboard of shadowy surveillance, intelligence maneuvers, and hidden conflicts simmering beneath the surface. Norway itself, with its strategic position, military testing sites, and proximity to both East and West, was a silent stage for operations few knew existed. Suddenly, everything about the woman's behavior, false identities, coded notebooks, constant travel, meticulous disguises, her mechanical meetings, began to fit a grim puzzle. She may have been part of something bigger, a cog in a vast machine of espionage and secrecy. And yet, if that were true, her end hinted at catastrophic failure. People operating in that world rarely simply vanish or die without consequence. Unless a mission went horribly wrong, unless betrayal or accident intervened, or unless the stakes had become lethal. The cold valley where she was found seemed to echo with the unresolved tension of that hidden world. Each detail, her clothes, her suitcase, her coded notebook, was not just evidence of identity hiding. It was a fingerprint of intelligence, strategy, and control. But even with this framework, one truth remained stark and undeniable. Whatever had brought her there, it had brought death, and death had erased the answers, leaving only shadows of her existence, frozen forever in the icy Norwegian wilderness. A witness provided a detail that made the case even more haunting. They had seen her near the valley, not alone, but accompanied by a man. Their interaction was brief, tense, almost imperceptibly confrontational. A silent argument, measured, controlled, yet heavy with unspoken threat or warning. No voices raised, no blows struck, but the air between them was charged with discomfort, with a sense that this meeting was pivotal, a last intersection before the tragedy unfolded. Hours later, she was found burned, abandoned, alone, and the man vanished. No identity, no trace, no explanation. It was as if he had been erased, as perfectly as she had once erased herself from the world. That encounter suggested a truth far more disturbing than anonymity. She had not chosen solitude. She had been accompanied to her final moments, perhaps against her will, perhaps by design, and whatever had ended there was orchestrated with chilling precision. The cold valley, jagged rocks, and ash became silent witnesses to a final interaction, one that investigators could never fully reconstruct, leaving only questions about complicity, threat, and the invisible forces that converged on that fateful night. Desperate for answers, authorities reached beyond Norway, contacting Interpol, governments, and intelligence agencies, sharing every detail they had. Photographs, descriptions, evidence, the coded notebook, the suitcases, the strange items. Yet the response was uniform. Nothing matched. No missing persons. No records. No reports. It was as if she had never existed. Not only was her identity erased locally, but internationally. Every system, every database, every country returned blank. A person completely removed from all registers is almost impossible, and the deliberate nature of it suggested planning, resources, and knowledge beyond ordinary means. Whoever she was, her disappearance and eventual death was orchestrated with skill and intention. This revelation deepened the mystery, amplifying the sense that her story belonged to a world of secrecy, surveillance, and intelligence that operated far beyond public understanding. And in that absence of evidence, investigators faced a chilling truth. The woman they sought to identify had lived in a manner that defied conventional detection, and even in death, she had succeeded in vanishing from history itself. Years passed, even decades, yet the Isdal Woman remained a puzzle that refused to be solved, a shadow lingering in the corridors of history that teased anyone brave enough to seek her truth. Journalists returned again and again. Investigators dusted off old case files, amateur sleuths combed archives, and even casual enthusiasts pieced together fragments of what little was left behind, hoping for a breakthrough, chasing whispers in documents long forgotten, scanning photographs, and re-interviewing witnesses who could barely recall her face. Technology advanced in leaps. DNA testing promised clarity, fingerprint databases spanned continents, forensic techniques uncovered secrets previously impossible to detect, but every new method only deepened the mystery. Each revelation seemed to open more questions than answers. the coded notebook meticulously recording movements, her ever-changing disguises hidden in suitcases, fleeting glimpses of interactions with unknown men, the chillingly precise erasure of labels, and the burned, unrecognizable body lying silent in the valley. Every clue pointed toward intelligence, strategy, and deliberate concealment, yet the story refused to be captured. It was as if she existed not merely as a person, but as a concept. A life stretched between visibility and oblivion, a ghost walking alongside the living, leaving nothing behind except questions. Investigators became haunted by her absence, their efforts to find her resembling a labyrinth with walls that shifted with every discovery. They chased shadows and echoes, always a step behind, never able to grasp the whole, never certain if they were uncovering truth or merely illusion. And even now, decades later, her story challenges every notion of identity, secrecy, and mortality. It reminds those who study it that some lives, carefully constructed and meticulously hidden, resist understanding, leaving only fragments of possibility and a lingering sense of dread that someone, somewhere, planned every detail of existence with chilling precision. Today, more than 50 years later, the Isdal Woman's mystery persists, frozen in time, an enigma without origin, purpose, or conclusion. Was she a spy entangled in secret operations that ended tragically? Or a fugitive, moving with silent precision, orchestrating every detail of her life to vanish completely, slipping through the cracks of a record-bound world? Perhaps she simply chose disappearance, asserting control over identity, history, and memory, leaving behind only traces too subtle to understand. Every artifact hints at deliberate erasure. Burned clothing, coded notebooks, suitcases of disguises, fleeting encounters, a companion seen once then never again. Each fragment reveals strategy and concealment, yet none captures her final moments. Somewhere in the cold Norwegian valley, beneath silent stones and lingering ash, her story waits, not for resolution, but for understanding, a life beyond ordinary comprehension. Some mysteries endure, some people remain unknown. The Isdal Woman, burned, unclaimed, and absent from records, continues to haunt the imagination. A reminder that even in an ordered world, some lives slip through, leaving only questions, unease, and the echo of the unexplained.